You could make a case for Doug Armstrong being our town's greatest sports executive. His overall resume is insane. A part of 2 Stanley Cups, 2 Olympic golds, and 2 World Championships. No one else can say that on the management side in hockey. We sat down the Blues executive this week where a lot of sports is discussed at Lester's in Ladue. So your dad's in the Hockey Hall of Fame as a linesman, Neil, and one of the great moments of your life was when you went up there with your Stanley Cup ring and with your team and you took that picture next to your dad's photo. Wasn't that emotional?
It sure was. I was actually, in the early 90s, he asked me to give the speech to put him in the Hall of Fame, and that was a great thrill. I've taken my kids there. We've seen his plaque. My kids obviously know what he did, and it was a great thrill. That and taking the cup up to Sarnia and sharing it with him are 2 of the memories that will last forever.
So you're now over 500 wins, highest in Blues history as a GM. Was there ever a time during the 12-year tenure that you were worried about your job?
I don't want to sound arrogant, but not really. I've always felt that you have to put the work in. And I remember saying this to Mr. Stillman one time, we weren't going good. And I said, like, I'm not looking to get terminated by any stretch, but if you're the only guy that would hire me, you've probably answered your question. And Tom's always been a great supporter of myself and of our management team.
So let's talk about coaching moves. Was the toughest thing you ever had to do as the Blues GM and president was to fire your really good friend, Ken Hitchcock?
Not even close. Yeah, for sure. That was the hardest thing, because when I was in Dallas, I learned so much from Ken as an assistant manager, watching him. It was difficult, but Ken and I had talked about it before and after. We all understand that's our jobs, and there were no hard feelings. Obviously, for a little while, we didn't have a lot of contact, but it wasn't that either of us were angry. We just understood that was the part of the job, and now he's back working with us and helping Craig, and it's been a great fit again.
With that said, how do you take emotion out of your moves?
I think you just have to understand that's your job. Working for Bob Clark, who I have a ton of respect for, and Bob Gainey, they basically would say that when trading a player becomes second nature, you probably should get out of it. They're people, there's emotions to it, but at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. But uprooting someone's life shouldn't be your first choice, it should be your last choice. And I've always thought of that, but at the end of the day, my job is a steward to the St. Louis Blues, to the ownership group, but more importantly to the fan base, to do what we think is correct for the fans, not only for today, but for tomorrow.
Let's talk about the roster now. Do you think this is a better roster than the Stanley Cup team, top to bottom?
I don't want to say it's different because there's younger players involved. That roster, there was not many young players if you look back on it. Thomas and Kyrou, at that age, have a huge part of our team. And we didn't have that back then. You look at, we had Steen, we had Bo, we had a lot of experienced players. So this one's a little more green. Some of the guys are going to go through it for the first time, are going through it. But it's a roster that excites me moving forward because they're gaining very valuable experience right now.
So there was a time, maybe late August, where you couldn't find an ex-player, a broadcaster, a media member who thought that Vladimir Tarasenko was going to be on this team. And not only is he on this team, but he may be your best player. How did you kind of calm things down? And did you think, hey, I can probably get something out of him if we let this thing kind of fester a little bit? Yeah,
quite honestly, Frank, there was a lot of white noise around that. I had talked to Vladdy and I talked to his representative, and we all know what the request was, but we were all very clear that we're not in the giveaway business here. It's professional sports, and he's a professional athlete. He has a job to do. And he gave me his word, and I didn't need his word. I know the man. He was going to come in ready to go and make the best of it if it didn't work out, trade-wise, and he did that. And then as the season started to progress, things are going very well. So I didn't get caught up in the world is falling, the sky is falling part of it. I just felt that if he did his job and we did our job, if it didn't work out here and he was playing well, he'd certainly be a valuable asset. Right now, he's playing great and there's no concerns.
And does he still have a trade request out there?
Those are things we handle behind closed doors, but I would say he seems relatively happy right now, and we all seem happy.
What are you and Berube like after a game? Do you get together and chat?
Yeah, I used to go down to the room a lot after games. Now I just sort of get in my car and go home, and he'll give me a call. I found that raw emotion after a game, win or a loss, it's too high or too low. and probably from me also, not just from the coaches. So going home and about an hour after, give me a call. We'll go over the injuries. We'll go over what's going on. It's not that I can't go down there. It's just I like beating the traffic, I guess.
So you'll live and die this. Like after the New Jersey and Montreal losses, you're not a good guy to be around.
That's verifiable if you talk to my wife.